What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for clicking on another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg, and listen, I believe in the world of sports it is important to stay humble. So when you have an NBA take or prediction that does really well, you shouldn't sit there and take a victory lap or flaunt it. So when I said a couple weeks ago that the Los Angeles Lakers were not real championship contenders, could I sit here and I got clowned in the comments, people saying I was a nobody creator. Had someone say that the Lakers had a better chance to win a championship than my content did to go viral. Said that I don't know ball. All these different things, I could sit here tonight and absolutely take a victory lap by the fact that the Lakers got embarrassed 139-96 when they went up against a real championship contender in the Oklahoma City Thunder. A team that was playing almost all of their starters in the Lakers, with Marcus Smart being the only guy that was out, got mollywopped on national television, Amazon Prime, whatever you want to call that nowadays. And I presented all my facts and evidence a few weeks ago, and it was the most disliked video I've ever had. So I'm going to sit on here and again repeat what I said. The Los Angeles Lakers are not championship contenders. They may be a top 10 team in the NBA, and I believe that they are. But that does not mean they are good enough to win 4 straight rounds in the playoffs. They had a nice 9-game win streak. That was nice. It was cute. It was wonderful. I am a fan of Luka Doncic, LeBron James. I enjoy watching both of those guys play basketball. And let me preface this by saying hopefully Luka is not seriously injured. They said he's going to get an MRI on his hamstring. Hopefully he's back here in a week or two. So this is not me hating on Luka. This is not me hating on LeBron, and it's not hating on the Lakers. This is just stating facts. When you look at the NBA this year, in the Western Conference, there are 3 teams that could win a championship. That is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who won last year and have been unbelievable this year. The San Antonio Spurs, who have really taken the league by storm and have incredible amounts of talent and athleticism and youth and energy. And I still give respect to the Denver Nuggets because I believe that Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and those guys have championship DNA, winning a title a few years ago. Those are your 3 and maybe only 2 contenders in the Western Conference. The Lakers are not part of that group. Listen to these statistics. They are 12th in the NBA in points per game. They're 23rd in three-pointers made. They're 27th in rebounding, 17th in turnovers, and 20th in defensive rating. I just gave you offense, three-point shooting, rebounding, and defensive rating, and the Lakers were average to below average at every single one of them. And in fact, rebounding, they're one of the worst teams in the league. Now, they are number 1 in the NBA in field goal percentage, but it doesn't lead to scoring a lot of points. They do play a little slower than a lot of teams. Luka tends to play a slow style of basketball, and obviously LeBron's getting older. And then they're also top 5 in the NBA in free throws made. So if you're someone that believes that teams are championship contenders based off of those 2 statistics that I read you, then more power to you. But if you look back at the championship teams from each year, they do something at an elite level. This year, the Nuggets are number 1 in the NBA in offense. That's why I think that in the year they won the championship, they were the same way. And they were able to be serviceable enough on the defensive end of the court. The Boston Celtics, when they won a title, I believe were both top 5 in both offensive and defensive rating. They did both things well. The Thunder this year are excellent on both sides of the basketball. Teams that win championships are able to do something at a super high level. And the Lakers don't do any of that. So when I turn on First Things First, a show that I enjoy watching with Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, and Kevin Wildes, and they do their weekly tier rankings, Nick Wright had the Los Angeles Lakers in a tier above the Boston Celtics and on the same tier as the San Antonio Spurs. I can't tell you how incorrect that is. I am willing to say there is 0% chance that this Lakers team wins an NBA championship. And again, that is with zero hate. I'm not doing the Charles Barkley thing where I'm begging for them not to win. I just watch the game of basketball, have studied the history of basketball, and can tell you that this team does not have a chance to win a championship. Now, people were responding and saying, well, we didn't expect the Pacers to make the NBA Finals last year. Okay, well, there are certainly exceptions to teams making runs, especially in the Eastern Conference last year when they played the Bucks that were hurt, and then the Cavs were dealing with some injuries. And in the Eastern Conference Finals, they were playing a Knicks team that we didn't really believe was a real championship threat either. They could have beat the Thunder in the NBA Finals. They had a magical run. But this Lakers team is not that. They don't have that run in them. We have seen Luka Doncic perform incredibly in the playoffs. But you can't have poor roster construction the way that the Lakers do. If the thing that's so frustrating when it comes to this conversation for me is 2 months ago, I think people understood this. People were saying that the way that it was built with Luka, Reeves, LeBron, DeAndre Ayton, that core of players is not good enough to win a championship. They don't mix together well enough to compete for a title. Well, then they went on a 9-game win streak, and people freak out and lose their minds and act like this team has turned it all around and they figured it out, and we're looking at a completely different roster. No, it's the same roster when they run into a real juggernaut like the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that can go. The Thunder played their whole roster tonight. Now, obviously, it was a blowout, but when you get down to some of their even lower guys, they have, AJ Mitchell tonight gave them 10 points. Isaiah Joe, 20 points in 13 minutes. Jalen Williams off the bench, we know he's good. He had 7. Jared McCain off the bench had 8. Cason Wallace off the bench had 8. Aaron Wiggins off the bench had 7. They go 10 to 12 guys deep that can actually play meaningful minutes in an NBA game. And when you flip over to the Lakers, I mean, they played. Bronny James had 10 points tonight. You're not winning a title with Bronny James and Maxi Kleber as your 9th and 10th best players. And again, you flip on the TV and you hear this Luka conversation. It's really gotten out of control when it comes to the MVP. I'm not even super anti-Luka being in that conversation. I think it's frustrating the way that it's covered is the fact that you have some people on one side acting like Luka, they're just not even going to consider him because of his defensive end of the court. And those were the same people that voted for James Harden a few years ago. But then you have some people that saying defense doesn't really matter in these conversations. It's been 90% offense and 10% defense in the past. And I don't agree with that either. I just think it's somewhere in the middle. Luka Doncic should be probably top 5 in MVP, but he shouldn't win the MVP award this year. But the Lakers conversation every single year loses its mind. Now, obviously, we know the brand that the Lakers are. We know the eyeballs that are attracted when you have a strong take on the Lakers. And it's why I tend to stay away from them. Each year I'll do a video or two just kind of saying whether I think they can win a championship or not. But I tend to stay away from them because the media so oversaturates the market with Lakers content. My Lakers content doesn't even usually do very good in comparison to some other teams. But I just feel like it's necessary to make one more video regarding this because the comments were so aggressive towards me, saying that I just didn't understand, saying, ripping who I was, my channel and all that kind of stuff. My goal for my channel was not to go viral in response to this one guy saying that the Lakers have a better chance to win a championship. It's to give my honest NBA takes, and that's what I feel like I'm doing. When I look at the Western Conference, I see 3 teams with a better chance to win a title than the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's not even including that I think the Boston Celtics have a way better chance to win a title. And who knows in the Eastern Conference, it can be kind of interesting with some of the other teams, whether Cade comes back. The Pistons have been doing a lot of good things even since he's been out. The Cavs beat the Warriors tonight. The Spurs beat the Clippers by 19 points tonight without Victor Wembanyama. That team is not in the same category as the Lakers, and yes, they are young. They do not have a ton of playoff experience outside of Harrison Barnes and like Luke Cornett, I think Bismack Biyombo. They have some guys off the bench with playoff experience. De'Aaron Fox has played 7 games. Obviously, we know Wemby, Castle, Harper, those guys, Keldon Johnson. Not a ton of playoff, no playoff experience actually. But I don't believe that is going to give the Lakers enough of an advantage to go beat that team in a 7-game series. I think I think it's more likely the Lakers lose in round one than to make the Western Conference Finals. I really do. This is not me trying to be a hot take. Again, that's not, if you look back at my channel, I'm not a hot take guy. I give you my honest opinions, and I watched a basketball game tonight where the Thunder won by 43 points over the Lakers. The Thunder are an unbelievable basketball team, and when they turn it on, they're going to be hard to beat. I think in the West, if we get a Thunder and Spurs Western Conference Finals, that's going to be electric because those two teams create interesting challenges for each other. With the athleticism and the depth of their guards. So that's a conversation for a different video. We'll do a preview for that here in a week or two when we get to the playoffs. But all in all, just don't constantly believe the media when they flip-flop so hard on teams and when they're pushing so hard for these big market brands like the Los Angeles Lakers and keeping them in the news and keeping them relevant. This team is not going to win a championship, and that's okay. It is okay to be a really good basketball team, and that's what the Lakers are this year. They're a really good team that does not have a chance to win 4 straight playoff rounds. If you disagree with me, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Feel free to clown me. Feel free to attack me. It doesn't really bother me. I like going back and forth with people. So, appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you love NBA content. Cyborg out.